Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Let's get straight to it. I recently was asked a question, and this is a question I get asked the most, okay? And this question is, how do I build an emergency fund if I'm living paycheck to paycheck? This is an excellent question because right now, 60% of society is living paycheck to paycheck, and damn near, 50 to 52% of society does not have an emergency fund or has less than $500 in their emergency fund. So it's a great question because that means that you're thinking about saving, you understand how important it is, and it's not easy to do. I'm gonna warn you right now, it's not easy to do because I grew up in a poor environment, and every time I got money, I just spent. I didn't budget. I didn't do none of that stuff. To me, nah, life was an emergency. I didn't have time to put it in a fund because by the time I put it in a savings account, I'm pretty much got to take it right back out and use it. But that's a great question because it is really important to start saving, and eventually, guys, you will need to do it. Right? We all will need to start saving. So let me address this question. Is very popular question, the most honest way possible, and the easiest way for you to understand this. That way, you will not be part of that 51 to 50% of people who do not have an emergency fund. We can't have that. So this is what I highly recommend. Okay, and I'm going to share with you my struggles that I've been through and how I was able to overcome it. But what I see the most is this: people automatically, well, first of all, people don't know how much money they need to save, which is legit, right? You don't really know how much money is considered an emergency fund because, for example, the whole thing that people say all the time is if you have a flat tire, flat tire costs $250, but you're not gonna save just enough for a flat tire. You can have a health scare, you can have one of your family members pass away, you gotta go travel and see them. There's a lot of things that can happen in life. Obviously, the big ones are layoff. Yeah, that sucks. But a lot of things can happen in your life. But the amount of money that you need to have set, I'm gonna be honest with you, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If right now you have nothing, then your number one goal should be 100, right? And you should just try to focus on ways to just get to 100. Then once you get to 100, then you try to find ways to get to 2 or to 5. The whole point of this all is to get into the habit of just saving. That's it. Saving for a rainy day, putting money to the side. Once you start, because the real calculation is you take all your expenses, right? And that's like your 1 month worth of expenses. And people say you should get to 3 to 6 months. And you might hear people say you need to save a whole year of expenses. To me, it just depends on your job, depends on the lifestyle you're living and the risk that might happen if you do lose your job. The possibility of losing your job, that will cause you to bump it up. But when you see that big ass number, you're saying, I'm never going to do it. What's the point? I'm not going to do it. I was one of them. I seen that and I was like, nah, the number's way too high. So I struggled with saving because not just that, I wasn't saving for a purpose and I didn't have no milestones along the way. So the key is you have to start small, right? Start extremely small with putting money to the side, preferably in a high yield savings account. Do not use your checking, the savings account with your local branch bank. They give hardly any interest. And we're definitely not doing cash. We're not holding on to cash. I personally use Ally, and I love it because it has buckets. I can name stuff for like my emergency fund, for my vacation, for my Christmas shopping. That's the stuff that I use. But I automatically transfer. This is what you need to do. You need to have an automatic transfer coming from your checking account. So as soon as you get paid, you have money going into your high yield savings account. You could do that on a bi-weekly basis, or you could do it monthly, but I highly prefer you do it bi-weekly, especially on the days that you get paid. And the amount that you start transferring over has to be an amount, right? And this is the hard part because if you let your ego get to you and like, come on, $10 is not enough. I could do more. No, do an amount where is like it's not a big deal and you won't miss it. So, for example, when I started doing it, I did $10. $10 bi-weekly. I was really broke, man. I was living paycheck to paycheck. $10 bi-weekly. And when I recognized, okay, after like, I think it's like 2 or 3 months, I recognized it's not a big deal. I could add more. Then I started bumping more and more. When I got a raise, I bumped more. When I got a bonus, I bumped more. That was the whole thing. As soon as my lifestyle started increasing, all of that started increasing as well. Because you don't want to get super aggressive and start saving all this money. And then when it's all said and done, as soon as it hits an emergency fund, you're going right back to use it because you really didn't budget and you were being unrealistic with how much money you want to start saving. So that's the key, is to start really, really small and start putting money, bi-weekly into the account. Now, the next thing you need to really get serious about, and I am not going to bullshit you, okay? I know a lot of people say, cut this out, your life, cut this, cut this, cut this. There's only so much cutting you could do. If you live in paycheck to paycheck, you might have little enjoyments in your life, some a Paramount subscription or Netflix subscription. There's only so much cutting you could do where it won't even make a difference, right? It really won't even make a difference. But I am not going to tell you though, okay? You don't look at your budget and your subscriptions and you cancel some of that. But I want you to understand that doing that is just not going to be enough. It's enough to get it started. Say, for example, you have some subscriptions that you don't use no more and you recognize, hey, I saved $30, right? Or for cutting certain subscriptions that you don't use, that those $30 right there could be contributed into the emergency fund, right? That is a good start. It's a good start. But the reality of the reality situation is this, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. You have to increase your income, right? You can only cut so much, but you have to increase your income. Now, you can either try to do that at work, try to find ways to get promotions, talk to your manager, or maybe if you don't feel comfortable talking to your manager, then just try to look at other departments that you know might pay more. You start trying to move within your job to try to increase your income. You're working there, you might as well take advantage. If they have overtime, even better. But if not, if you want to do something on the side, this is my I recommend, like, the first step should be is to do like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and stuff like that. It sucks. It really does. You don't get paid as much doing it, right? You don't. But it's a good start and it's something to just get additional income while you're working on trying to get a promotion at work, or while you're trying to start your own side hustle. Like, you need to also, you could do both, right? You could start trying to do Uber Eats, DoorDash, everything on the side, and at the same time working on a side hustle that could bring you additional income. Because when it's all said and done, really, guys, these jobs are not paying that much, right? The wage stagnation is a whole nother level. You're dealing with AI. So all of this is coming into play. You're not getting the pay that you truly want to get. So you have to go out there and get it. You can't just sit and just wait. And if you want to build an emergency fund, you're going to have to try to find ways to increase your income. As simple as that. And even if you do DoorDash, Uber Eats, when I did it, I was making, like, on average, right? On average, I'm gonna say it was $400, like 450, like a month on average. Now, granted, I only did it on the weekdays from like 5:30 to like 7, right? So I did a few hours a night, and I did some on the weekend. And there's weeks I made 1,000, but on average though, I would say it's 450, and it's good. It truly does help. It truly does help to put that additional money into emergency fund by doing something that, if you ask me, is pretty easy. I like driving, put my music on, and I do my thing, and I go out there and get it. But as you see, 450 is not a lot. But the point is this: is to get the ball rolling. And leads to my next point. It's not going to happen overnight. All of this thinking that you're gonna hit you're gonna have 6 month emergency within like a year, it's not going to happen overnight. The likelihood of you hitting like 1 month of your expenses, it might happen between 2 or 3 months, right? It depends on how super aggressive you are. But if you're like me, the majority of people are in this situation. When you go super aggressive, you're quick to just get burnt out. You're not going to be able to sustain that saving rate that you're doing if you're being super aggressive. What you want to do is make it sustainable. That way you live a lifestyle where you're always saving. So that's why I highly recommend, like I said in the beginning, like $10 here, $20 here. Do that, right? When you get a bonus, throw it in there. Do that, because that's a whole lot more manageable and your lifestyle will remain the same. And like I said, every time you get a raise, then you can bump that up as well. But the key is you just don't want to be super aggressive. Just don't. And recognize that this is not going to happen overnight. It is going to take some time, right? It's going to take a very long time. And there will be times where you need to dip into it and you got to restart all over again, or half of it is gone. And that's okay, because that's what an emergency fund is. You have to remember in the back of your mind, I hated touching my emergency fund, but you have to remember that that emergency fund is there to just not disrupt your life. That's the cushion that you need, where it won't interfere with your life. Yes, sucks dipping into emergency fund to pay for like a flat tire or something stupid that you don't want to pay for. But think of it this way: it's better to have it than not, right? So That's why just building the fundamentals and start saving, the habit itself and the mindset itself, next thing you know, within a year or two, you turn around and you have a huge amount of money in cash sitting in your high yield savings account. Now, I know so many people out there are gonna come at me and say, "Well, you shouldn't be just saving cash. You should be investing, saving." I get it, but you have to have that cushion first. And obviously, it's a preference, but you need to have a cushion first to protect yourself. And after you hit a certain number, that you know, like, okay, this is enough. Like, I don't need to, have any more than this. Then you can start putting money into investing. It'll be a lot easier because you built the habit of saving. So that money you're putting into a savings account, you can start taking that and starting to invest. So really, guys, you let me know what method you hear other people tell you that you think that works the best, or what method have you tried and you failed and you continuously tried and you failed. I would love to hear it. And do me a favor as well, guys, please. I like doing videos like this, so drop a comment down below and let me know what topics you want me to touch on, or I could give you guys some advice for things to do, because this method I shared with you helped me a lot. And this is something that my parents did as well, and they weren't good savers. And they did this usually for Christmas. They made sure, like, at the beginning of the year, they put like a few dollars in, and the end of the year, they were able to use it for Christmas shopping. But in our case, right, in 2025, guys, we just need an emergency fund. And that is a good way of doing it. Start small, not super aggressive. That way you don't hate it, right? That way you don't hate it at all. Because if you hate it, then you don't want to do it. Then you're gonna just really revert back. So you want to make it as simple and as seamless as possible, and then you'll be on your way to have an emergency fund, and then you'll be an adult. You'll be financially an adult, and it's a good feeling to have and celebrate the milestones, man. Really, once you get to like 500, celebrate that. Once you get to 1,000, celebrate that. Once you decide one day, I'm not going to do this thing, shopping or spending all this money on something unnecessary, I'm gonna take that money and save instead. Pat yourself on the back, because if you don't root for yourself, no one else is going to, first of all. But when you start rooting for yourself, it motivates you and allow you to keep on going, and then your mindset and your lifestyle will change, which is tremendous. But guys, drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. At the same time, hit the like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Peace.